Hey guys, so I want to come on here and give a review of 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days. Now, this is season 3, episode 5, and it starts with Rebecca and Ziad in this bar. And basically, they're just showing the conclusion to the altercation that they have. And the reason why I call it a altercation is because it's just words. They didn't come to blows. Rebecca sits there in her delusional state of mind, once again, not realizing that the problem is her. She keeps talking about Ziad's anger and Ziad's jealousy, but the reality of it is had she just kept the jacket on like he asked her to, sat there and ate her food, not been incredibly obtuse, and respected his culture, then they wouldn't have had a problem. I don't know how many times this dude have to tell her that she is not in America, she is in Tunisia. The problem with Rebecca is that she's extremely insecure and she feels like her last relationship took the control away from her. So now she has to overexert and push back on everything that Ziad says as an attempt to regain that control. And like I said in the last review, she needs to just not be in a relationship if that's how she's going to be. She's incredibly annoying and she needs some help as well. No matter how many times Ziad tells her that his issue is not jealousy, although he did admit it to being a jealous person, but I just don't see it in this episode. I really feel like unless we're missing something, everything that he's doing is valid. But he keeps telling her that the issue is that these are his cultural practices. She's in a different country and she can't seem to assimilate or respect the cultural practices, and that's an issue which is causing him to question and his relationship with her. He doesn't know whether he wants to be with her, but since she's there anyway, he might as well get to know her. I'll tell you what, if this was me, and it could be foreign or domestic, but if anybody disregarded my culture and I'm dating them and I have to keep telling them, and not just dating them, if I'm getting to know, trying to see if it's gonna be a workable relationship, I'm not gonna work with that, because I'm already seeing if in the beginning you can't have the decency to respect my culture, but you can best believe she would expect him to respect hers, then I can't deal with it, especially if my culture and or religion is important to me. So they're sitting down getting ready to go to meet Ziad's parents, and Rebecca decides she wants to have a discussion with Ziad about the situation the night before, and then he has to once again reiterate to her that the problem is that she doesn't understand that she's in Tunisia, not America, and that there's different cultural practices there. All the women look the same as her, so it's no problem, but in Tunisia it causes drama, i.e. case in point, when women dress that way and show all their tattoos, you got a man staring. He's not having that. Rebecca is still delusional. She still lacks comprehension skills. She's still wrapping it in a bow and saying that it's his anger and jealousy because she can't self-reflect. She's just extremely annoying and very insecure, because she started complaining about the outfit that she had to wear to their parents' house when he told her they're strict Muslims, you need to cover up your tattoo. She has a huge problem respecting other people. There's something wrong with her. Then she keeps asking, oh, are you sure this looks right? Does this look right? Are you sure, baby, that this looks right? The level of insecurity and the fact that she needs so much validation is just sickening. It's like, woman, you're 47, get it together, seriously. So Benjamin and Kenny are in the car and they're going to her family's house. Unbeknownst to him, he's about to meet a house full of people. What's sickening is the amount of racial fetishization that goes on between them, because he sits up there and tells her that she's his dark chocolate and she calls him her vanilla ice cream. I don't know if you guys noticed throughout the show how much they pet each other. She likes to rub on his hair and talks about how white his skin is. It's extreme fetishization. Is very, very gross. But Kenny tells Benjamin that despite the fact that he got an Airbnb, her brother wants to keep an eye on him, so he's going to be staying with her brother, and the only time that he won't be there is when they're spending time together. Like if they're spending personal time together, then they can do that on their own, but otherwise the brother will be there. To me, this would have been an issue. If I already paid for Airbnb, I'm not about to stay at nobody's house, especially if she would have just had to go talk to her family and tell them, you know what, she didn't tell me this ahead of time, so the bottom line is I'm staying on my Airbnb with or without her. I really feel like in that situation, he should have asserted himself, especially considering he has concerns about even being able to pay the dowry that they have. It seems like every culture has a dowry that you have to pay, meaning a fee upon marriage, and he's worried about paying that. And so Kenny tells Benjamin that he needs to impress her father and her brother, who have never met a white person. So they get to the place, and he's literally basically having a family reunion. Everybody's there. Her brother, her sister, her cousin, everybody. All of her dead ancestors are somewhere around there swirling around. She's just meeting everybody except the kitchen sink. I don't even know if there was a kitchen sink, but she's meeting everybody. So he's nervous. He sits down with the brother, and the brother tells him basically, look, dude, if you want to marry her, this is serious business. It's not a joke. You're going to need my help on it. So they leave. They're together. Benjamin talks about how much, y'all, to be honest, Benjamin and Kenny are boring. I'm only covering it for the sake of it because it's part of the show, but I'm actually contemplating skipping past their segment because they're just so boring. Like, I wish that they had more personality. And it's not that I don't think Kenny has personality. She does, but her personality is kind of dry, and he's corny. So therefore, dry and corny doesn't make for good television. It's a good thing they have everybody else to buffer it, but they're just annoying. Basically, the brother says, you ain't getting to marry her without coming through me. Benjamin talks about how broke he is and says he doesn't even know if he can afford it. Then, okay, if you're not there, we're got a payment plan or something. Moving right along. So Avery goes to Omar's hotel with her mother. She's basically trying to see if he had done his part. Avery, prior to coming there, she asked him to find an Islamic priest called a sheikh, and Omar says that he didn't do it because it's not his role. Avery then gets her mother because she's frustrated because she asked Omar to do one simple thing, but because he feel like it's not his role, even though it's his wedding, she's clearly not there, or he can't do it. That's the thing that would irritate me. It's like, if you know that I'm not there and it's not possible for me to do it, then if you're there on site, then you should be doing it because it's your wedding too. But Omar didn't want to do it, so it had Avery contemplating whether or not she should marry him. But then she, you know what she said, that questioning didn't last that long because the reality of it is, she said not marrying him is worth. So what she did is she just got her mother to help her with her wedding, and she had one day to do that. The time was limited because Avery's mom was actually set to leave in a couple of days, so they all go to a mosque to see if they can get married. And once again, Avery complains that Omar did nothing for the wedding. If she has this much of an issue with it, like, I don't even know why she's going through the process. It's like every segment, you literally can't just be sitting up here complaining about the fact that he didn't do anything with the wedding. He said it's not his job to do that, just like he said he's not pulling that chair out for you. I don't know if y'all caught that, but he literally told her he ain't pulling out no chair for her. So you can kind of already see what the tone of the relationship is going to be like for them. And the thing of it is in those type religions, in all of these Abrahamic westernized religions, you really have a misogynistic viewpoint because they always feel like they don't need to cater to women and that the women are basically there to serve them. And it's pretty annoying. I don't deal with religious people in general, but the Muslim religion, no, they don't respect women enough from what I see. And I'm not wearing a bunch of bed sheets all throughout. I'm just not going to. Now, if I chose to be in a relationship, I'm to respect their custom and cultures because I know what I signed up for. But ultimately, I'm not about to walk around in a hot bed sheet just to appease you. It's not happening. So in any event, in order to get into the mosque, Avery's mom had to wear a full body hijab. Now, she said that this was unusual for her, but she still wore it. And I was seriously sitting here saying, please just let it be one scene where this old woman don't oppose to respecting their custom and culture. If you know that you in a Muslim country, you know this. You know that Beirut is a Muslim country. You know that you have to respect the customs. I'm tired of y'all going to these Muslim countries and you think you don't got to respect it. But she didn't give any pushback. She just wore it. But they found out that the sheikh was not available and wouldn't be there till Monday at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. So they told him to come back Avery and Omar then go out without her mom. This is the time that he told her he wasn't pulling out the share. Red flag number one. If you want your share pulled out. Now, if you don't feel like that, some women don't require that. That's just the reality. Some women don't require it. Now, to me, I don't really care about you pulling out my share, but opening the door for me, yeah, I do feel like you should be doing that. But obviously, that's something that she wanted. He said he ain't doing it. That should be red flag number one. Moving on to old Angela. Angela is still a man. And she was showing her daughter what she got from Michael, which was a bunch of Trump merchandise. Now, she said she trumped him up last time. I trumped him up last time. I'm going to trump him up this time. All she does, like, it's so gross because she's so wrinkly. She literally has a whole roadmap on her face is what she has. But she's talking about her sex life and how big Michael's dick is literally while she got a couch full of mixed kids sitting. Really, I should put them in the Who They Really Shoots episode, but I'm not going to do that. But did y'all see that couch full of mixed kids and no black man around to be raising them? This is the portrait of what happens in these interracial unions, but I digress. Only a black man would have sex with Angela, obviously, because she's flying all the way to Nigeria to get it. She clearly can't even find anything within her own hometown. She's sitting up in Georgia and flying over to Nigeria, but she wants control, and you can tell that throughout the dynamic of the relationship, but just no dignity at all. But she's looking on the plane, looking old and gross as usual. All she has to say about him is how much she misses having sex with him, and he's so sexy, and her sexy Nigerian. Literally, once they get there, she can't even contain herself. All she's trying to do is handcuff him, put edible food on him. They're so overly sexed. It's Darcy, Jennifer, like all of it, even Rebecca, all of them sitting up there talking about how much they can't wait to have sex. If you don't get a vibrator, like, seriously, if you don't get you some toys, you that desperate for the D, like, I can. It's just weird how overly sexual they are. It's like, cool your jets. It's just dick. But the thought of somebody having sex with Angela makes me want to vomit in my mouth. But Michael goes to visit his friends during his little segment of it. They make it a note to make sure they show that he's basically showering outside, but we know all Africans don't live like that. But in any event, he goes to visit his friends and he talks about how Angela basically has control over him. He says he's not working. He doesn't see his friends because Angela said that he's a fiance now, so therefore he shouldn't see his friends or go to work. She sends him money. His friends are not for it. They're basically making fun of him, saying, oh, you kissed a white woman. And they're talking about how much he's changed since meeting her. They said that he's not the same person. Look, if y'all are on my other channel, then you already know how I feel about these relationships. We just saw basically this dynamic where, you know, they get this foreign black man and then treat them like a child. And we saw that when it concerned Jay and Ashley. Jay was heavily emasculated by Ashley, who was significantly older than him. Now you have Angela, who is 53, and Michael is 31. So this is a very aggressive, manly. He already said she's manly. So this is like a domineering control situation where she's just gonna debo him into sex or whatever. But his friends don't like it. They're talking about how it's their custom as men to be the provider of the woman and how she's controlling him, she's bossing him around. Ooh, it's the men of the house is what one of the friends said. Literally, y'all, he said it just like that, and I nearly killed over him and his pregnant belly. It was just way too much. But they get back to the hotel and Angela is just gross. It's so nice. Y'all, like, I can. Every time she says it, I just like vomit in my mouth at the thought of anybody having sex with her. You can tell that he's kind of not turned on. He's just lying and saying that he is because he's talking about how overly sexual she is. But it is what it is. He's going along with it. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander, I say. Timothy and Jennifer are having issues because Timothy is a certified beta male and Jennifer is coming to that realization. But they go to dinner after Jennifer takes her daughter to her grandparents, and she mentions how Tim is not her type, but he's a family man, so she's okay with him. He's sitting there with his manicured fingers talking about how he's not the worker type of man, which really is the type of man that I'm going to tell you guys the type of man that Jennifer wants. Jennifer wants an alpha male who's just going to be aggressive, take the initiative, maybe throw her on a bed and conquer her, as she said. She wants him to be rough and rugged, not Timothy. That's just not her type, and I can tell you that situation isn't going to last, because she constantly talks about how he's just not the type of man that she wants. She literally called him a pussy right to his face. He didn't deny being one. He just said it's not about being one, but he didn't say I'm not one. So clearly he is one. But he constantly expresses how insecure he is, how he's scared of her, how he's afraid to take the initiative. These are things that Jennifer wants in a man. So they leave dinner, and they're talking about, oh, this is very good. Now, if it were me, sidebar, it would have just been a wash with Tim, unless he was sending me money. Now, if he was sending me money, because I've dealt with a dude who was corny and beta-ish, but it wasn't a sexual me laying in the bed or going to his house or dating him type thing. It was a him giving me money type thing. And that's what it would be. That's what Tim should just be. Tricked him out, get your money, and let him be a beta on his own. He's not over his ex-wife anyway. But so they go back to the apartment, and Jennifer is basically talking about if she's alone with a man, then they might as well have sex. Her attitude is, you're here, I'm here, we're sharing the same bed, so what's popping? But Tim, being that he's a beta male, he's sitting over there talking about what he wants to do, but why he can't do it. Jennifer is noticing that he's not even kissing her, and she's wondering what's going on. Yet again, she compares him to Latin men. She's like, okay, well, a Latin man, the first time we stepped into this apartment, before we made it to dinner, a Latin man would have had my clothes off, i.e. an American white man and a black man would have too. Little does she know. So Timothy is just a beta male, because there are white American men that will do that. You don't need a white Latin man to do that. An American white man would do that. They're just really, like, Tim is just a beta male. That's the problem. It's not that it's anything about the American culture, and she didn't say it, but I feel like he's representing it. But so this might be her perception after that. It's not that, it's just that Tim's a beta male, and she says that he's too scary to make a move on her. He's not even trying to kiss her, which Jennifer is saying maybe he's just gay. I told y'all I think he's slightly gay anyway. He's in there giving her facials and putting stuff under her eyes, and she's mentioning how feminine he is. See, this is what would have made me leave. I don't deal with feminine men, and I like Jennifer for the most part. I really do. I think that she's real. Her attitude is real. I like that she's feisty, that she's going to throw the drink in his face, because Lord knows how many drinks I've thrown on people, including the cup. And so I feel her. And I like her, but she needs a different type of dude. He's not masculine enough for her, and basically she's saying that Tim's beta wave is putting him in a friend zone, and it just seems like it's not going to work anyway. So in any event, Cesar is delusional as always. He's in Mexico recording a video to Santa Maria so she can ignore it like she does everything else. He's still pretending that Maria is his girlfriend and that she likes him when she clearly doesn't. The hotels let him know that his luggage is there, and he brings out the candy lingerie that he brought her. He'll be using that on his own. The producers ask him if he heard from Maria, and he says he hasn't heard from her in about 4 days. She's still ignoring him. He said this because she's getting nervous because it's finally real to her that he's going to meet her. And listen, this is the norm. Why is his mind not automatically reverting to the fact that she's standing him up again, considering it's happened 5 times in the past? This is why I think Cesar is slow, and I don't think he's acting. I think he's truly just slow, because after 5 times, why would you say, oh, well, she's just nervous? No, she's not just nervous. You're creating your own reality. You're creating your own reality. So basically, he meets some people, and they're talking about how he's being catfished. Okay, they say they want to have drinks with her because he shows them this quote unquote blonde bombshell. Immediately, the dude at the end of it, because they're a family, they're on vacation there, so immediately he's like, are you sure you're not being catfished? They're like, okay, when she gets here, we want to sit down and have drinks with her. Little do they know that she canceled on him 5 times in the past, so there's no reason to think that she's not going to do it this time. But Cesar tells them that he will let them meet her tomorrow when she gets in, allegedly, so they can have a drink. But he'll continue to look stupid, because the bottom line of it is, we all know she ain't showing up. That's just the reality. He's dumb, she's not showing up, and it is what it is. Cesar is just a hot mess, and people were going in on him on Twitter as well. But Darcy and Tom are basically going to play cricket. This is a European game that they have. They're going to go play cricket, and Darcy is sitting up here making references to walking down the aisle. Now, she's making Tom feel very uncomfortable, but she still doesn't care. She still doesn't care. She constantly keeps pressuring him. It's with Darcy is sex. Like, I have known, but it's just pathetic to see somebody her age who really can only be validated by sex, because this man has not touched her. Therefore, she feels like he doesn't like her, despite the fact that he keeps telling her that he simply want to get to know her. Darcy should get with Cesar, actually. Darcy and Cesar would be a great match, because Darcy's desperate, Cesar's desperate. They both create their own reality, so that's a match made in heaven. They're having a discussion as they have wine and dessert, and Darcy mentions that Tom hasn't had sex with her, because again, this is her end all be all. This is how she solidifies the relationship. She will know that he cares about her, not based on everything else that he does for her, but based on how quickly he had sex with her when he meets her. So she's overly desperate. She complains that they haven't had sex, because of course that's all that matters to her. Tim at this point is saying that he kind of feels like she's fake, because she's laying on the compliments way too hard. She's basing everything on sex, and she cries too much. So he's wondering how authentic she is, because he doesn't feel like she's being real about the situation. Darcy assures him that she is being real about the situation, that he's her sun, her moon, and her stars, and he's the knight in shining armor that she's always wanted. Now, anybody with eyes can see that he's not into her, but she can't see it, so therefore she's creating this fictitious reality. However, her issue is that Tom won't have sex with her, so she's talking about they need to have sex. He's saying that it's a decision that will just happen spontaneously, when in reality it's not. You know when you want to have sex with somebody. But I feel like Darcy is not Tom's type in terms of gender, if you get my drift. I don't think that he really likes women, but Darcy needs some therapy, y'all. Like, she got 2 whole teenage daughters, and this is how she conducts herself. Every time I see her segment, I can't help but think about how opinionated she was on Pillow Talk, and how desperate and pathetic she is with every man that she's with. She was the same way with Jesse, and now she's that way with Tom. She refuses to do the work on herself. She is a emotional train wreck who constantly needs validation, and it's like, you're in your 40s. What are you going to teach these teenage daughters that you have who are just going to mimic your behavior? Like, she's seriously annoying. She ultimately just wants Tom to have sex with her so she can feel good about herself. Meanwhile, I'm screaming at the TV like, can you just give this desperate woman the D already? But you guys, that was season 3 episode 5 review of 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days. Get in the comment section, let me know what you guys think. Thank you for your support. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and I will see you in the next one.